Episode 17. Library. My family and hers have always had good ties. Our parents were really good friends even before I was born. When I was young, I was always forced to spend time with her whenever our parents met, which I might add was pretty often. At first our relationship was pretty good, we were really good friends. She had a really kind and caring personality that showed compassion to all. At least that is what I thought. Alex took a long pause to calm down and gather his thoughts before continuing with another long sigh. One day when we went to the park to play in the playground, a boy accidentally bumped into her. She fell on the mud, ruining her favorite dress. She damn near killed the kid. If it wasn't for me holding her back, the kid would have been definitely dead. That is when I understood that the way she treated me was not like how she treated others. She sees everyone who is weaker or of lesser birth than her as no more than her playthings. From that moment on, I avoided her like the plague. I don't want to associate myself with such a person. However, whenever our parents meet, she always tries to approach me and act nice like nothing happened. She is a true psychopath. Moby, you are no more than a disposable doll in her eyes. When she gets bored with you, she will throw you in the gutter. I warn you to steer clear of her at all costs. Moby pretended to be shocked, taking in all that Alex just told him. By her actions and demeanor, he already assumed as much. When he accepted Jaden's offer, he knew full well what he was getting himself into. "Don't worry about me, I know what I'm doing," Moby replied with a smile. "Are you sure? If you want, I can go talk to her. Maybe I can convince her to stop," Alex said, with a worried expression. Moby pretended to think about Alex's proposal before replying. "That would never work, even if she agreed. I have already made an enemy out of nearly every single male student in the school. Without her protection, I would be as good as dead," Moby replied with a sad expression. Ads by Pub Future. "Then, I'll protect you instead," Alex said with a firm resolve. Moby did not expect Alex to offer himself as a bodyguard. If it weren't for Moby's plans, he would have definitely accepted his offer. He would have been the perfect puppet. "That would never work, even if you are high level, you cannot monitor me 24/7. There would always be moments where I would be vulnerable to an attack. Also, a high level guarding a low level has never even been heard of and would be definitely scorned and might attract trouble that maybe even you can't handle," Moby replied while pretending to feel depressed. Alex took a long time to think about Moby's point before giving up. "I don't understand this Alex guy. Why is he going so far for a low level like me? He must have an ulterior motive. I must keep a closer eye on him," Moby thought. "I'll take you up on that offer," Moby answered with a smile. Suddenly, the bell signaling the end of lunch rang. The trio said goodbye to each other and left their separate ways. It was now time for the break. Moby wanted to go to the school library to see if there are any records of demons mentioned. He was not surprised to find that there are no such mentions of demons in the fiction section. He spent his entire break time skimming through things he found in the books. "Hey, Avelia, it says here that demons are weak to anything holy, is that true?" "Yes. That is the only weakness we demons have. You must stay clear of churches, mosques, or temples. Anything related to God is a no-go." Moby took a note to stay away from anything God-related. Luckily, religions have heavily dwindled ever since the discovery of abilities. People suddenly getting godlike powers and abilities made many people lose their faith in God. This was a big advantage for him. Moby continued to skim through the books when he ran into some disturbing things. "Do I need to bathe in the blood of newborns to strengthen myself?" Moby asked in disgust. Ads by Pub Future. Moby is ready to use any means at his disposal to gain power, but this is just too much. He holds no grudge against babies who are completely innocent, and he does not plan on being a baby killer anytime soon. Hell no. "These humans and their sick fantasies are revolting," she replied with genuine contempt. "There is one more disturbing thing I found. Do I have to have sexual master-servant relationships with a harem of girls to gain power?" Moby asked, seemingly even more worried than about the killing of newborns. "Who do you take me for? A slut? I am the first demon lord. I never had to do such a thing in my entire life." When she said that, a huge weight was lifted off his shoulders. "Lastly, this is an important question that has been on my mind for a while now. Is it possible for me to turn others into my demon servants?" "Yes, it is. However, with your current power, it is only possible to turn one." Moby had a big smile on his face. "That's exactly what I needed to hear." Suddenly, the bell rang, signaling the end of the break. Moby still had one more class to attend before the end of school. It was another class with Professor Leo. He was explaining the basics of martial arts and its importance to the class. Moby was already a martial arts master from his constant training, so he decided to not pay attention. He decided to spend the time leveling up his Eyes of Sin instead. Leo noticed the sleeping Moby, but he decided not to pester him because he knows by his student records that he definitely knew all the information he was talking about. After a long and boring 2 hours, the bell rang, signaling the end of school. Even after the constant training, his Eyes of Sin has yet to level up. This did not dishearten Moby because he knows that results can only be achieved with time and hard work. As Moby walked out of the school, completely ignoring all the murderous glares coming his way, he noticed Jaden waiting for him at the front gate. Behind her was a long white limousine that floated off the ground. When Moby came close to Jaden, she instantly ran over to him, skipping up and down like she had no care in the world. "It seems that my cute little pet has finally arrived," she said with a disturbing smile. Episode 18. The Calm Before the Storm. Jaden started to chuckle a bit before saying, "I was going to punish you for making me wait 3 minutes. But, your impeccable manners have saved you just this once. Next time you make me wait, you will be punished. Do you understand, my little poodle?" she said in a dreadfully serious tone. "Yes, ma'am. This pet shall never again subject my mistress to such treatment," Moby said, trying his best to hold onto his smile and not strangle her. "Good boy," she said as her expression cheered up again. Moby was already fuming with anger, but he somehow managed not to show it on the outside. He had never been publicly humiliated to this extent in his entire life. "We shall go to my mansion. Once we are there, I will explain my plans to you," she said as she entered the limousine. "What are you doing there like a dog? Come on and come into the limousine," she yelled. "I thought I was supposed to be a dog," Moby retorted. Jaden started crying out of laughter from Moby's remark. It wasn't even that funny, Moby thought. When he entered the limousine, he was astonished at how much fancier it looked on the inside than on the outside. The red seat couches were the most comfortable seats he had ever sat on. The inside was lit up by white crystals that shined a golden light. There was an entire flat-screen television alongside a long table with what looks like alcohol on top of it. For his entire life, he could not remember ever riding a flying car, even though they were really common to find in the city. Moby did not even have the money to ever order a taxi, so he was used to always walking to all his destinations. The ride to her house was especially awkward. Moby did not have any reason to strike a conversation, and he liked it that way. He began to level up his Eyes of Sin while he waited for them to arrive. More than anything, Moby hates to waste time. "Every minute is precious, and only a fool would waste it," were the words he always lived by. Suddenly, his training was abruptly interrupted by a nudge on his hand. "I only needed 5 more seconds to complete nature stimulation, fuck." He inwardly cursed at his terrible luck. Due to the unfortunate interruption of his skill, Moby now had 0 demon energy, which leaves him defenseless. "Hey, would you like to have a drink?" she asked him with a glass in her hand. Ads by Pub Future. Moby really wanted to refuse. He does not drink alcohol because he finds it unhealthy and useless. He also does not know how alcohol would make him feel, which would make his actions unpredictable. This might even ruin his entire plan if it completely changes his personality. As soon as he took a sip of the drink, he saw a system notification appear right in front of him. /U003C sleeping poison detected /U003E. /U003C new skill learned /U003E. Poison immunity, passive. The user is immune to all poisons no matter the strength or type. Sleeping poison? He inwardly thought. She most likely put some sleeping drugs in your drink. Luckily, demons are immune to all types of poisons no matter the strength. I recommend you pretend that the poison worked and sleep, or else it would raise many suspicions, Avelia said. Moby decided to follow Avelia's suggestion and pretended to sleep for the rest of the ride. Luckily, since he was able to stay still for another 10 minutes, he was able to fully recover his demon energy, which was a huge relief. While they were still on their way, Moby tried using his inspect skill in order to better formulate his plan of attack. Name, Jaden Griffith. Race, human. Ability, level 3 shadow. Power level, 3420. HP, 100/100. Mana, 90/90ths. Strength, 77. Agility, 110. Endurance, 65. Ads by Pub Future. Intelligence, 90. Mind, 0. It seems like she has some sort of shadow ability. But, that doesn't give me much information on her ability other than the type. All I know is that she has immense speed and low defense just like me. However, she also has high intelligence. I can only assume that means she has strong magical attacks, which are bad news. After careful consideration, he decided that waiting for a moment where he can catch her off guard is his best bet at winning. Moby tried to use his enhanced listening to try to pick up on any clues that Jaden might say, but she stayed completely silent. When the car finally stopped at the mansion, the only words she ever spoke to her servants were, "Leave us alone, I want some secluded time with my little pet." Then she tied Moby up tightly with rope before carrying him on her back inside the mansion. After walking for what seemed like forever, they finally reached a room in the house. Moby could not risk opening his eyes without the fear of blowing his cover. With his strength, he can easily break out of the rope with minimal effort. The rope was only designed to contain a low level, which is why Jaden thought it would be enough to restrain him. Little did she know Moby was not a low level at all. He was thrown on something soft, which was most likely a bed. "You wait here while I take a shower and change. I'll be back in 15 minutes and then we can have some fun," she said with a giggle. "Whoops, I'm sorry, I forgot you are still fast asleep. Such a cute pet," she said with a loud laugh. Then a loud sound of a door banging sounded in the room, which means she most likely left. Then, with his enhanced hearing, he could hear a pair of footsteps walking out of the room, which confirms that she indeed left. Moby now felt that it was safe to open his eyes. He was in awe at how big and fancy the room looked. The room was deep velvet in color with a roof at least 10 meters high and a diameter of over 20 meters. The bed was at least 5 meters by 5 meters in size, surrounded by a velvet curtain the same color as the room. Around him, he noticed a bunch of candles on tables, which helped set the mood for what is about to come. Moby could not help but shudder at the thought of what would happen to him in this situation if he was powerless. Out of all the torture and bullying, the only thing Moby has yet to experience was being raped. But, he did not think it would at all be a pleasant feeling. Suddenly, Moby could hear a pair of footsteps approaching his room. He instantly closed his eyes and pretended to go back to sleep. Then, the door abruptly opened and then instantly closed. "I'm back, my little chihuahua. Did you miss me?" Episode 19. The Raging Storm. Then a huge splash of water went on his face. It came as a huge surprise to him because he was concentrating on when she got close so he could strike while he was still supposedly asleep. Moby woke up pretending to not know what is going on. "It seems like my little kitty has just woken up," she said while giggling. She was only wearing a purple bra and panties showing her stunning body on full display. She threw away the water bucket and crawled closer to him like a lion hunting its prey. Moby pretended to struggle to get out of the rope tied around him. "What's going on? Where am I?" he screamed in distress. "You are in my room, silly. I will show you the best time of your life, so just lie down and relax while I do my thing," she said in a seductive flirtatious tone. Moby tried his best screaming for help but with no avail. This was bait to see how she would react. "Ha ha ha, you are in my house. Who do you think would come and help you? And besides, I have a noise-canceling crystal installed in the room. Sound comes in but doesn't come out. So, no matter how loud you moan with pleasure, your voice wouldn't reach the outside. So, don't worry about holding back your excitement if you are afraid of being embarrassed," she said as she inched ever closer to him. Moby inwardly breathed a sigh of relief. If what she said is true, then Moby has no worries of her calling for reinforcements or of anyone on the outside hearing what is about to go down. Moby put the best face of despair he could muster, squirming around trying his best to escape with seemingly no results. Jaden was finally only arm's length away from him and went in for a kiss. This was now Moby's best chance at catching her off guard. He quickly broke the rope with his strength and grabbed his sword out of his inventory, performing a demon slash towards her heart. All of that happened in an instant, which left Jaden almost no chance to react. Almost. Moby felt his sword go through her flesh before being stopped by something unknown. Around Jaden's wound, he could see a dark shadowy smoke emerge. The smoke quickly repelled Moby's attack and consumed her entire body. Her previously cute playful face with a hint of sadism has been completely distorted into what could only be described as a monster. Moby instinctively took a step back from the sudden change in her demeanor. He had never seen anything like it in his entire life. Then he noticed that the wound he inflicted was still bleeding, which means that his previous sneak attack was not a complete failure. /U003C 20 HP /U003E. Moby coughed up a mouthful of blood from the strength of the attack. 5 more hits like that and he would be dead. His glass cannon build was doing him no justice in this situation. Jaden's movements were too weird and obscure for him to grasp even with his enhanced senses. Ads by Pub Future. "You are such a misbehaving pet trying to kill your master," she roared in a weird screechy voice. "Do you know what happens to pets that attack their owner? They get put down." She screamed while creating what looks like a pair of daggers made out shadows. "Fuck my luck, why does shit always have to get worse?" he inwardly cursed. Jaden disappeared into a black smoke-like shadow just like in her last attack. Moby tried to predict where she would appear. So, he slashed behind him, assuming she would pull the same attack as before. To his surprise, she was not there at all. Instead, she appeared to his side instead. She slashed multiple times at his stomach area before kicking him away once again. Then she appeared behind him by flowing his trajectory and kicked him away once again, smashing him onto another wall. /U003C -37 HP /U003E. /U003C -21 HP /U003E. /U003C -23 HP /U003E. Moby only had 19 HP left. He had many cuts and bruises all over his body with some broken bones. He could barely breathe from the sudden burst of damage. He had a hard time even standing up. His vision became blurry from all the pain. His only chance at still fighting was to cut off his pain receptors, which is exactly what he did. How did a weak little puppy like you ever think that they could defeat someone like me? I do admit that I underestimated you and you caught me off guard. But a puppy is still a puppy no matter what. she said with an evil laugh that seemed almost ripped out of a horror movie. After Moby came so far, he could not accept defeat. He steeled his resolve and took a fighting stance. Suddenly a system notification appeared right in front of him. /U003C System Alert /U003E /U003C New Skill Discovered /U003E Undying Will, Level 1, Passive. The user's Unbreakable will gives him a boost of strength to defeat his enemy. Condition to activate, less than 30% HP plus 20% to all stats. Moby's eyes lit up with renewed hope. He felt a sudden rush of energy surge into his body, making him much stronger. However, Moby knew pure strength is not enough to defeat Jaden. He needed some way to sense her unpredictable movement pattern. Then a sudden hint of genius popped into his head. Everything living, no matter what, has an energy signature, he inwardly thought. If he was able to follow her energy signature, he would be able to know exactly where she would appear. I thought you would have found it an honor that such a beautiful noble girl like me would choose such a weak disgusting commoner like yourself as a pet. Ads by Pub Future. As she continued her endless rambling monologue, Moby used this time to focus on trying to sense her energy. Suddenly, he was able to sense a deep purple glow of energy surrounding her body. His experiment was a success. /U003C System Alert /U003E /U003C New Skill Discovered /U003E Energy Sense, Level 1. The user is able to sense the energy signature of any living thing. The user is also able to sense energy through walls. Range, 10 meters. When she is in her smoke form, it seems like she cannot attack, so she always had to materialize her body before striking. Also, she was completely invincible in her smoke form. When Moby tried slashing her smoke from before, it had no effect. So Moby has to wait for her to materialize before attacking. As soon as Jaden finished her long monologue, she immediately turned into her smoke form and rushed towards Moby. He can now clearly see her direction thanks to energy sense, but he still felt too slow to keep up with her movements. Moby activated his Eyes of Sin. Thanks to the extra utility that his Eyes of Sin provides, he can now easily keep up with her movements. Moby only had 20 demon energy left, so he only had 10 seconds to end the fight. Thanks to his 0.1 second future sight combined with energy sense, he could easily know where she would appear. As soon as he saw her outline appear from under him, Moby immediately jumped up to avoid her attack. Jaden was flabbergasted at how he knew exactly when and where she would appear. Then she noticed Moby was falling down on her with immense speed. She had no opportunity to dodge. The attack was too fast and sudden. Moby came down on her, slashing his sword on both her eyes, blinding her. She jumped away screaming in agony due to her lost eyesight. She released a burst of shadow energy pulsing through the entire area. A strong black wind spread through the entire room. The shadow made it hard to breathe while the wind made it hard to move. His skin felt like it was slowly decaying. /U003C 1 HP /U003E /U003C 1 HP /U003E /U003C 1 HP /U003E Moby was losing 1 HP for every second he was in the shadowy wind. He unactivated his Eyes of Sin because he had no use for it at this moment. After his use of Eyes of Sin, Moby only had 8 demon energy left, which was exactly enough for 1 demon flash. Moby's range on Demon Flash was only half a meter, which was not that long. The distance between Moby and Jaden was only 10 meters. All that Moby needed to win was 1 good hit to knock her out. Moby began walking towards Jaden, trying his best to resist the wind. As he neared the eye of the storm, the wind became almost unbearable. Moby was now walking at a snail's pace, weakly, gaining seemingly no ground. They were now only 1 meter away from each other, and Moby only had 7 HP left. After using almost every ounce of energy left in his body, he managed to close the distance enough to Demon Flash. Moby Demon flashed behind Jaden and bashed her with the hilt of his sword with all his strength. The shadow wind has finally stopped, and so did Moby's HP loss. She was finally knocked out. Moby managed to barely survive the encounter. He only had 3 HP remaining. Moby's body had been beaten almost beyond recognition. He had many bruises, broken bones, and he had muscle tissue showing from his skin decaying. He was barely managing to stand on his 2 feet, wheezing and panting more than he ever did his entire life. Moby looked down at Jaden's unconscious body with a glow in his eyes and a big grin from ear to ear. Now, Moby can commence the plan that he endured all this anguish to accomplish. Episode 20. A New Servant. /U003C level up, /U003E. Only 1500 XP for almost dying. This system sure is cruel. He inwardly sighed. Avelia, quickly, can you tell me how to turn someone into my demon servant? Moby asked while heavily panting. Just put your hand on her head and spread your demon energy into her body, overwhelming her conscience. As long as she doesn't resist the process, which is impossible when knocked out, you should be fine. She replied. Moby nodded and followed Avelia's instructions. He grabbed her limp head and spread his demon energy inside. A raging purple aura enveloped Jaden's body. Suddenly, he saw her unconscious body start moving in obscure ways. He heard many bones breaking and cracking, only to regenerate a few seconds later. He saw her skin burn off before being replaced by new skin. Black blood started coming out of every orifice in liters. Is this how my transformation looked like when I evolved? He inwardly thought, looking at Jaden's body in disgust. Suddenly a system message appeared in front of him. /U003C, you have created a lesser doppelganger demon. /U003E. /U003C, congratulations on making your new demon household. /U003E. /U003C, please choose a name for your household. /U003E. Demon household? He thought in confusion. It seems like the Nether Realm has most likely gone through a lot of changes since my passing for this to happen, she sighed. A demon household is a powerful family of demons, usually reserved for noble and higher demons. I'm surprised that turning one human has already created a demon household. From my knowledge, which might be outdated by now, this has never happened before, Avelia replied. Demon households have many bonuses that you will discover. I don't want to ruin the fun and surprise. I can't be giving you all the answers, or else it would be too easy for you. I need to see if you are worthy of inheriting my legacy and powers, she said in a playful tone. Moby took in everything that Avelia said. At first, he thought that this demon household thing would be a hindrance and an inconvenience. But, after hearing that there are benefits, he instantly thought differently. Moby now needed to think of a name for his demon household that sounded cool but not too edgy or cringy. Due to what is most likely some form of brain damage from the fight, Moby was unable to think correctly. He thought of many bad ideas like, the House of Sin, and, House of Total Destruction, before coming up with his final answer. House of the Blissful Demon. Moby decided to name his household after his parents' dojo's name to pay homage and respect to his parents. Even if Moby hates everyone and everything in his life, the only people he could never come to hate were his parents. /U003C, congratulations on creating your new demon household, House of the Blissful Demon. /U003E. /U003C, hidden quest complete. /U003E. Demonification. Turn one human into a demon. Rewards. Plus 25 stat points. Plus 10 levels to the first demon servant created. Ads by PubFuture. /U003C Hidden Quest complete /U003E. Birth of a new household. Create your own demon household. Rewards. Plus 50 stat points. Plus household bonus. You and demons under your household will share 50% of their XP upon killing or defeating an enemy with you without lowering their total XP gain. Moby's eyes were wide open while his mouth dropped out of sheer surprise. He had gained a total of 85 stat points out this endeavor while he was only expecting to gain a simple minion. Sorry for ever doubting your generosity, Avelia, he thought. No apology necessary, she calmly replied. Moby was really excited about the extra stat points, but the most important thing was the household bonus of XP sharing between him and his minions. It seems like amassing more servants would be to his benefit. Sadly, at his current strength, he only has the power to turn one human into a demon. Suddenly, he felt movement coming from under his feet. He had no energy to move due to his injuries, so he just stood there watching. Jaden has finally woken up. All her injuries, including her eyes, seem completely healed. Moby gritted his teeth in anticipation, waiting to see the results of his work. He just has to hope and pray, to Satan, that this psychopath would not attack him and instead be under his control. You! What did you do to me? She roared out in anger. When she tried to move and attack Moby, an unknown force stopped her in her tracks. She was completely immobilized. Avelia, what the hell is going on? Household members are completely loyal to their master's command. They are physically and mentally unable to harm their master. This means that there is absolutely no chance of betrayal. The only way that they can break out of your control is if they hate you to an extremely unimaginable degree. Fuck, I think she definitely hates my guts. I'm totally dead, Moby sighed in resignation. Don't worry, she wouldn't be able to break your spell until after a week has passed since she got turned. So, you need to somehow tame this psychopath and make her submit to your will. A demon lord who can't rule over their subject is not fit to inherit my powers. So, good luck. Avelia said in a playful tone. Damn that bitch Avelia, Moby cursed Avelia for not telling him about that earlier. But, it seemed she is no longer responding to his calls, even though he knows full well she is listening because he could hear a few giggles every now and then. Fuck. That completely messes with my plans. I had thought that the master-servant relationship was absolute. I was going to use her as a slave to do my every bidding. Moby thought, in turmoil. Moby looked back over to Jaden, who looked like a lunatic trying to break out of invisible chains. Moby tried to test his authority over her. According to Avelia, she should follow all my commands. Kneel, Moby said in an authoritative tone. Ads by PubFuture. Jaden's face instantly smashed on the ground like the gravity around her suddenly got multiplied by 100. Moby can sense the anger and disgust in her heart like they had some sort of connection. He could not directly read her mind but can read her emotions. Her emotions were overwhelmingly strong. If he cannot tame this psychopath in a week, it will be the cause of endless troubles, most likely leading to his death. At the end of the week, he could just order her to commit suicide and write a suicide note explaining her reason for doing it. But, if he did that, it would probably cause a school lockdown and interrogate every student in the school, seeing that she is from a really important family. If they have an accurate lie detector, then he would be completely screwed. And, even if they didn't, it would still cause inconveniences for him to complete his revenge on Nathan. He needed to avoid a situation like that at all costs. Moby's best move is to try to win over her loyalty by any means necessary. He wanted to establish their difference in status before getting friendly with her. He needed some way to solidify some form of loyalty between him and her. If that doesn't work, then he will try a more friendly approach in order to win her over that way. Calm down. All I did was turn you into a demon. I am a demon after all. Moby said in a calm tone, trying to hide his inner turmoil. She started laughing hysterically in disbelief at what Moby just said. You? A demon? Don't make me laugh. There is no such thing. If you really are a demon, then show me proof. As soon as she said that, a purple glow emitted out of Moby's eyes. His eyes had many different rune-like drawings on them that looked very mystical in nature. Staring at them made her feel like staring into an endless abyss which made her shudder with fear. Moby only had 1 demon energy left in his reserves due to his 12 energy/hour regeneration speed. So he was only able to use his Eyes of Sin for half a second. But it was more than enough to prove his point. Using Eyes of Sin by the master on a servant of their household is a way the master uses to put fear into their hearts. This effect only works on household members. Moby did not know that fact, so he was surprised to see Jaden trembling in fear. Wait, so I'm a demon now? She asked, seemingly forgetting her previous anger. Yes, you are now a doppelganger demon, Moby replied. Moby had no idea what a doppelganger was. So, he asked Avelia, hoping she would know. Doppelgangers are a very powerful kind of demon that specializes in the skill of transformations. A doppelganger can transform into anyone, copying all their power and skills up to 70% of their strength. They can also replicate clothes but without the additional buffs and uses they might provide. Doppelgangers are the masters of the art of deception. She replied. It seems like this two-faced psychopath got the type of demon that perfectly fits her personality. He thought. With her manipulative and untrustworthy attitude, Moby feels like she will be a nightmare to deal with. What is a doppelganger? She asked in confusion. After only a little, Moby finished explaining to her what a doppelganger is by telling her exactly what Avelia just told him. To his shock, she seemed more happy than angry at what she became. Why do you seem so happy? Weren't you just about to kill me like 5 seconds ago? He asked in confusion. I felt like there was a huge change in my body, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. My skin and hair feel smoother than before and I feel more full of energy than ever in my life. Plus, these new doppelganger powers are amazing. At first, I thought that you were a filthy commoner who tried to kill me after I showed you so much kindness and generosity, but now, I understand that you were a great and powerful demon all along. You were just trying to help me gain new power out of your affection towards me. So, I shall forgive your previous transgressions. This bitch. Who does she think she is? She thinks too highly of herself. The only reason I chose to turn her into a demon was to extort her for her money and use her for protection at school so the bullies stay away. I need to make her better understand her situation. Kneel harder, he spoke in a powerful tone, causing her to kneel so hard that the floor under her started to crack. I don't think you understand your situation here. I am now the master and you are my pet. I can control every action you do with but a thought. If you value your life, you will join me as my servant. I promise to treat you well in exchange for your trust and loyalty. If you join me, I will grant you more power and make it worth your time. If not, then I will just kill you right where you stand. He said in a firm manner. Yeah, whatever, I guess I'll join you. As long as I keep my new powers, get stronger as you say, and have the freedom to do what I want, then I will be willing to join you. However, I will only take the orders that I want from you. If you ask me to do anything boring, I will decline your offer in a heartbeat. That is my deal, she said with no hint of fear in her eyes. As soon as Moby was about to scold her for her tone, he felt a huge pain ravaging throughout all his body. He completely forgot that he cut off his pain receptors in his fight with Jaden. Why the fuck do my pain receptors go back to normal now of all times? He inwardly cursed his seemingly never-ending bad luck. His eyes suddenly felt blurry, his body lost the energy to stay standing. Moby fell on the ground with a loud thud, leaving him unconscious. If you enjoy my novel, please vote to help me in the comments.